This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube. TMZ has put out a video of Raja Jackson being escorted out today, or yesterday rather. You can see him being taken out of his luxurious apartment complex in California and being taken into custody. No news, according to the Wrestling Observer tonight, on if he's actually been bailed out or not yet. His bail was $50,000 on the felony assault charge, but I guess in the U.S. on a $50,000 bail, you only have to put $5,000 down. Apparently, he was taken into the actual police station around 2 p.m. tomorrow or yesterday, sorry. Uh, it's unclear which law enforcement agency actually arrested him, whether it is the LAPD or the California State Police. LAPD were known to have been investigating the incident, which took place about a month ago. The victim in the case, Psycho Stu in wrestling, was hospitalized for almost a week, lost a lot of teeth, had a concussion. He got over $220,000 on a GoFundMe with donations from people like Mr. Beast and Chris Jericho, among others. So, I mean, Jericho is making what, $6 million a year to sit at home for the past 6 months with AEW not using them. So that's a nice potential tax write-off for Jericho. I will say this: it's nice that he donates to everyone. Some more deserving than others. I've even seen him donate to the very questionable ones. Apparently, Knox Pro Wrestling, the former WWE ID company that this took place in, run by Rikishi, put out a statement. I don't know if it's smart to put out this statement when there's likely going to be a civil suit, but they said that Raja Jackson's actions were, quote, an irresponsible act of violence, end quote. Now, they're calling the actions an irresponsible act of violence, but they are part of the irresponsible ones for letting a mark backstage where he took a fake wrestling beer can hit to the head, which I've done it and I've taken them. They don't hurt. I've also been hit with real beer bottles, as you can see, and real beer cans and whiskey glasses. I'm lucky. I'm as pretty as I am with all the stuff I've been hit with, both in wrestling and in bouncing, which I did from 2001 off and on to 2019. So, anyways, the point is, an empty beer can does not hurt on the side of the head. He apologized. The guy accepted the apology. He was still attacked with 23 unanswered shots. Luckily, there was a guy there that had some fight training that was able to stop it before Raja finished him. But as I said, Knox Pro were the ones that let him do that, to set up that situation. It's not like Raja Jackson was a household name or even known in wrestling before any of this. He was a 0-1 pro fighter that is only known for being Rampage Jackson's son. In other wrestling news, CM Punk apparently said today he didn't like that Vince McMahon wouldn't pay the royalty fees for his music. So they wouldn't use the cult of personality. I mean, I understand how that adds up. And keep in mind, tickets were a lot less expensive when Vince McMahon were running things. If you're gonna get site fees and charge like $40,000-$50,000 for tickets, I'm sure you can afford the music a lot easier. And Tony Khan, when they played your music in AEW, he literally burns money away. There's a lot of wrestlers there that get paid to not even wrestle. So Vince McMahon was a businessman. TKO are also business people, but you're not doing house shows with TKO. You're a star. You're no wonder you're happier. You got your own bus, which I know you had before, but you're not in competition with anyone. You have your own thing going, and you have your wife. But honestly, it seems like the CM Punk momentum, well, he's one of their better characters. It seems to be dying down. I think they're dropping the ball. I did watch Brock Lesnar stuff from SmackDown tonight. They should have brought him back as a babyface. He's cooler by far than John Cena, way cooler. And then you see him this week. The fans want to cheer him. They have him beat up the announcers, Michael Cole and Corey Graves. These guys are geeks. You want it? Why? Like John Cena, I saw a thing today where he's denying that he ever took steroids and claims at almost 50 he still has a natural testosterone of 900, and he's saying this in the most boring manner, and oh, maybe 10 years down the road I'll need some sort of therapy. Yeah, I don't believe it. That's my personal opinion. I don't believe John Cena's never taking steroids. I really don't believe that for a second, particularly since he's from Rick Bassman's UPW that was notorious for using jacked up guys, and there was all sorts of connections in that federation. But John Cena, like, with his sympathizing with China, that, by the way, skins dogs alive and boils them and eats them, among other reasons to not like some of their practices over there. He learned Chinese, and he did so many interviews sucking up to communist China that brought us things like, you know what, that gave this world a lot of issues. But I won't rant too much. All I'm saying is, by watching Brock Lesnar, he looked better than Ron Killings last week and better than the announcers this week. He's cooler than John Cena. He should be a babyface. And yeah, it's going downhill. You don't, and he's way like Paul Heyman was good talking to. Like they did a segment with Paul. Paul was good as his advocate, but Paul with Braun Breaker and the other guy that's muscle but fat, Brock made them look both small. Like I noticed Braun Breaker. I don't know how tall he is, but even with Sheamus, I don't think Braun is quite as tall as a lot of the other typical historic big wrestlers. Saraya seems to be talking a lot about how much she loves AJ Lee. Blah 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 blah. Really fishing for a job. I mean, she'd be more over than a lot of the wrestlers that they have in WWE, but she was a menace backstage before. Like she was on tape having sex backstage and stuff, and got them a lot of negative publicity. So I don't know if they'll bring her back or not, but I mean, there's no question she'd be over than a lot of the girls they have. By the way, for Lesnar being on the SmackDown show tonight, and they keep talking about all these great crowds, they only had a pre-sale of about 6,000 for SmackDown tonight. This is with no house shows, guys. They're back to getting around 6,000 for some TV tapings. Indianapolis tomorrow for the Lesnar versus Cena match. There's 12,000 tickets out. It holds 18,000. Triple H has put a statement out. His dream match would be against Roman Reigns. Obviously, putting feelers out if potentially Saudi Arabia wants to pay him enough to come back and face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 43, because this is the first time I've heard him talk about a dream match. Reigns has dropped in popularity so much, though, since he lost that title. And to me, Cody Rhodes has no momentum. Speaking of guys that just come off as geeks, like Cody Rhodes is I'm so overpaid. I can just buy a new fancy suit with and wear like all this watches and stuff and give boring promos. What do you even need a watch for 2025 when everyone have phones? But no, I need the chain to stick my my watch in. I don't know. He just screams geek to me. You have a great weekend too. Betrayed by Sin. There's still a bit more news. AEW does not have a great pre-sale for tomorrow in Toronto, considering it's their first show in Canada since their show in Calgary last summer. There's only about half the tickets in the arena out right now. It holds 19,000. Tony Khan, here's one thing I'll disagree with him on. He made a comment about WWE saying they're going to keep increasing ticket prices by saying he prides himself on being family friendly. They start with higher ticket prices and then they discount them. I recently got an email from AEW for their show in London. There's two AEW shows in Canada. There's also Dynamite in London this week. I got a 30% discount on ticket email for London. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that got those. So they start high and then drop them as ticket sales get worse and worse. And they end up giving free tickets away too. But I'm not, their prices are more reasonable, but they use a lot of really bad violence. And I know I'm the blood hunter and everything. I'm just saying that family friendly, really. Didn't someone get like a fork through the cheek recently and they use glass and stuff? There's a lot of crazy, bloody stuff there. And also, the shows are as long as 8 hours sometimes. Do you really want to have your kids with you for 8 hours? The shows are too long. They're like, they could be, if he really wanted to pick up steam right now, he should cut his shows down a lot shorter and just make them better. Trim the fat of your company and make the ones that are better known wrestle more often. That's my opinion on it. But I don't think it's family friendly from the length of the shows and the amount of violence. That's just my opinion. I don't think, like, if you're under 13, you necessarily want to see people getting forks through their cheeks. Mark Shapiro thinks the Smashing Machine movie with my friend Mark Kerr, based on my friend Mark Kerr, is going to make wrestling more popular again. Yeah, Betrayed by Sin. There was an 8-hour AEW show in Texas this year. And I'm not even kidding. Why aren't they coming back to Canada? Well, for one reason, I'll just tell you, they false advertised all of their Canadian shows last year. They had so many people on the posters that didn't come, but the shows were just incredibly long to where so many people left before the end because it just, longer is not always better. It gets real boring. They need people. They need to end the shows on high notes because they just finished 7 shows in the 900 seat. What's it called? ECW Arena. At one point, they were selling out, legitimate sellouts, not fake sellouts for the setup. They remember when they first came in, people were loving it so much because they were sick of WWE and they wanted something new, and they were saying they were going to go back to the old school wrestling. But it turns out they ended up being more. I mean, in some ways, they're not corporate as far as the fork through the cheeks and stuff. And didn't someone drink blood and staple gun stuff? All kinds of stuff that I'm sorry, I'm not interested in that. I don't mind hardcore wrestling if it's like if it's believable, like if this is a weapon you could have or someone could pass you. But like the matches where it's just gimmick hardcore stuff, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. I mean, to me, I like Brody, Abdullah, the Sheik, their wrestling style. But for instance, I never liked the Madman Pondo stuff and all these Japanese guys. That to me is just boring. Um, and a lot of these smaller companies on the indies don't do any testing. So it just sets a bad example. And after all the hell that I went through, from catching something from Abdullah, I mean, you got to be real careful if you're an indie wrestler doing double blood matches. Although I was actually assaulted with a blade that had blood on it, it's a little bit more dangerous. It's like sharing a needle than just 2 people bleeding. But tax, I mean, if you get slammed onto tax and then another guy gets slammed on it, that's like sharing a needle too. Nick Khan says he got the site fee idea to get site fees for shows for WWE from the UFC. The main thing is, though, they're getting site fees, so they're getting everything cheaper, but they're still putting ticket prices up. So you're making, this is what's going to turn the fans off. To make you're getting the site fees because people were coming when tickets were cheaper and the shows were better overall. Now the creative is getting really bad, and you're bringing back. I mean, you got Lesnar now. You're losing Cena, but Cena had a really crappy run, in my opinion. There's not really any great up and comers other than Braun Breaker, who hasn't had the best creative. And you want to keep jacking up the prices. Eventually, you're going to scare off the fans, and the site fees aren't going to be there anymore. So I guess at that point, they'll just sell to the Saudis or something and cut their losses. But also, the whole stuff with doing more and more stuff in other countries is a turnoff to like Americans and Canadians. I'm not the only one that feels that way. It's like it becomes like a foreign entity. Anyway, yeah, they are double and triple dipping in money, more sponsors than ever, to the point where you're putting sponsors on tables that are going to get broken. So it's so choreographed that you know the tables with the sponsorship on it are the ones that are going to get broken. And the wrestlers are less trained than ever. A lot of them have their first matches on TV these days. And you want to boost the prices? Remember in the old days, you'd have to wrestle in the territories and become number one in the territory to get signed. Now it's like, were you a good college athlete? And really, how many of these college athletes? I mean, we can say Lesnar. He was a college athlete that made it to the top, that didn't have prior wrestling experience other than OVW. Roman Reigns played college ball, I think, and CFL ball. He was from FCW. Cody Rhodes, I think, was from OVW. I believe I've seen a picture of him in OVW. Anyways, I don't know what level college athlete, if anything, he was in, but he's from a wrestling family. But I don't see these silver spooned college athlete people that didn't grow up dreaming to be a pro wrestler and have to pay dues and just get paid to train and get spoiled all the time. I just don't see them developing the personalities you need to really get over, like the Flairs and the Pipers and the Hogans and the Andre the Giants and the Jake the Snakes that you used to get on the territories. Kurt said he saw AEW in Vancouver. Wrestling was great, but was far from a packed house. I think that was one of their best crowds of the year last year, too. But maybe that's why they didn't come back this year, because they didn't make money. That's got to be the reason why they only are doing 2 shows in Canada this year, because there was like 11 or 12 last year. And the one in Ottawa, I can tell you, it didn't make money because there wasn't a big crowd, but they also false advertised Jericho, Moxley, Saraya, FTR. There was like 8 key people that they false advertised. So it's like you end up with Evil Uno replacing Chris Jericho, for Christ's sake. Of course, the fans are just going to leave. Yes, you read my mind, Night Call. I mean, they're all cookie cutter and fat guys now. Other than the Brock Lesnar is almost 50 that still look great. Because I mean, obviously his testing is at a different level. And when you make 12 million a year and you're sitting at home for 2 years, you can supplement very well, eat very well, and train very well. Anyways, guys, have a great weekend. Have a great night. Cheers.